war should never be forgotten, for great things lie in the past and things that we can learn from. One of those great wars is known as D-Day, the first day that launches the Great Battle of Normandy. What makes the Battle of Normandy and D-Day one of the longest days ever? Well, there are 3 things that I want you guys to take away from this, some of the key concepts that I find important. First, I believe that the overall role of D-Day, the way it played in World War II, is extremely important. Second, I want you guys to know what was at stake in this battle, especially the launching of D-Day. And third, I want you guys to know the overall outcome of the war and how it affects us today. All right. It is important to know the purpose of D-Day and how it relates to World War II. Hitler, at the time, was both president and also he was the chancellor. Hitler craved power, and he went around to all these countries and tried to take them over. Well, he hit Poland, and they refused to negotiate with him, so that's when Britain and France declared war on Germany. And as that happened, a lot of other stuff happened, so that's where the war started. All right, and Italy and Japan, of course, wanted a piece of the cake, part of the adventure. So Italy saw that France was collapsing, and so they decided to declare war on France. And then, as we all know, Japan comes into the picture and declares war on both Britain and the U.S. During, obviously, Pearl Harbor. So that was one of the quotes that I wanted to add was, after Pearl Harbor, the defeat of Germany. That was from Overlord, the D-Day Landings. It's a book by Zaloga and Ford, and they do a really good job capturing that is the very end of the war, basically, that Japan did that because the U.S. is one of the determining factors. D-Day was a well-planned attack to win back France's freedom from Germany, and this was a huge step in winning World War II. Like I said, it takes over a year and a half to plan all of this. Like, it wasn't just like, hey, let's go attack these shores. It was a strategic plan. There was already around in France, all of them were pushing Germany this way. And so when they came onto these shores, they were trapping Germany. And that was a big step. And if this succeeded, this could give them the upper hand in the battle. Overlord again says, the Battle of Normandy, D-Day, was the great set-piece battle of the Western world. According to this quote, this was the day. This was the battle that put the odds of the war in their favor of the Allies. So, what can be gained during D-Day, or the knowledge of D-Day? Well, Germany could have gained the upper hand. They were starting to dwindle, and so if the Allies didn't succeed, they'd be able to work on new weaponry and rest their soldiers and rebuild their army. Where the Allies, they were really, really trying to free France from the 4-year occupation of Germany. This was something that they really wanted for this pretty much determined the overall fate of Europe and what we know today of Europe. If the Allies won, they would take a chance away from Adolf Hitler from ever winning the war. It would give them that upper hand. So, though World War II had many battles, I believe that D-Day is one of the most important battles of this war because it determines, it's that turning pivot point on who's going to win the war. Is it going to be Germany or is it going to be the Allies? So, what was the outcome of D-Day? Well, as we all know, there was a lot of people, and with war there's a lot of deaths. There was 4,000 ships that landed on Normandy in France. That was a number from World War II close up by Servin. Also, there was over 150,000 men that were landed on the shores, and that's a quote from the Illustrated Timeline of War by Evans and Gibbons. And then the tragic news that it was thought that 2,374 people lost their lives just on D-Day, and those were only Americans, not including civilians or Germans. And that was taken from Overlord, D-Day's, the landings. So, D-Day did not win World War II altogether, but it allowed the Allies to gain a greater upper hand and put an end to Germany's success. D-Day resulted in German armies' retreats from France, so the Allies won. This was the end of the Battle of Normandy. So, a great victory was won during the Battle of Normandy. We discovered core events that occurred on D-Day. What the overall Battle of Normandy, how it fit into World War II, what was at stake during D-Day and the Battle of Normandy, what was the overall outcome of the Battle of Normandy. Those are the three things that we learned. We learned that D-Day is a day that should be remembered as a day that Allies turned the end of the world towards their favor. D-Day did not win World War II altogether, but it allowed Allies to gain a great upper hand and put an end to Germany's success. D-Day resulted, once again, in Germany's retreat, and a great day it was indeed.